But I want to say first, welcome to everyone to the Agricultural and Human Sciences Graduate Recruitment event for fall 2022. My name is Dr. Annie Hardison Moody, and I am the Director of Graduate Programs in Agricultural and Human Sciences. And I'm joined by some of my colleagues. Actually, Jessica, I think that you are here with us. So I do want to point out Jessica Williams, who is our communications specialist and also one of the advisors in our graduate program. And she's also an alum of our program. So Jessica is a great person to know, and thank you for being with us tonight. So let's get started. Here's our agenda for the evening. I'm going to talk with you about our department and our programs and share with you a little bit about what we do in agricultural and human sciences. And then we're going to talk about graduate education at NC State and why we hope that you will consider joining us as a member of the Wolfpack. And then we're going to wrap up with time for questions and answers. And I want to leave plenty of time for you to answer any or to ask any questions that you have. And for that portion, as I mentioned, we'll turn the recording off. So let's get started. Welcome. We're really excited that you all are here and that you're interested in our graduate programs in agricultural and human sciences. And I'm excited to share with you a little bit about what we do in the AHS department. So a little bit about agricultural and human sciences at NC State and why we hope that you will join us in the AHS department in our graduate programs. First, our department is called Agricultural and Human Sciences, and we are an interdisciplinary department. So that means that we're made up of faculty and staff who do a variety of different things across the realms of research, teaching, and extension. All of our faculty and staff and the work that we do is really putting research into action. So fulfilling that land grant mission of taking the research and putting it into action in communities where we work. Our faculty are working on areas as varied as youth development to agricultural education, in areas of local food and food insecurity and poverty, and also working in areas of extension education, program development, and outreach. So we really have a wide range of faculty members, students, and staff that all are centered around what we call the human dimension of agriculture. So we're kind of unique in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences here at NC State in that we're really focused on how people interact with this broader agricultural system. And that really is addressing some of the big questions that we're facing as a global society and in our world, included, things like how are people impacted by food and food systems and agricultural systems, and how do people impact those systems as well. And so you'll see a lot of the work that we do in our department and in our community is really centered in those areas in that human dimension of agriculture piece. And as I mentioned, we do work in those three arenas of research, teaching, and extension. And so for those of you who aren't familiar, when I say extension, I mean we are a part of the Cooperative Extension Network in North Carolina. So our faculty, many of us are working with local extension agents we have offices in all 100 counties of North Carolina to really take the research and the applied work that we do out into the communities where that we serve in North Carolina. We're also conducting research on things as varied from, student success and how to better support agriculture teachers to addressing issues of food insecurity and poverty in the U.S. Some of our faculty are working in 4-H and youth development programs and researching, developing, and implementing programs in our extension networks, but and there's a lot of places where you can really plug in and find something that interests you around these kind of global issues that are at the intersections of human and agricultures. So I want to share with you a little bit about our department and our academic programs, because one of the things that we're doing is bringing everything under one umbrella. For those of you who don't know, we used to be, several years ago, we were two departments: youth, family, and community sciences, and agricultural and extension education. We are now together as the Department of Agricultural and Human Sciences. And one of the things that we're working towards is to bring all of our academic programs, our graduate programs, under that one umbrella. So I'll be talking with you all a little bit about that. As a department, we do have quite a few faculty where, we had about 22 tenure track faculty. We're adding new faculty members who are coming on board very soon. We have 2 new faculty members coming on board in nutrition, education, and behavior, a new human development faculty member coming, and we are in the process of hiring a new faculty member in agricultural communication. So really exciting stuff is happening in our department. And in addition to those faculty members, we are a pretty large department because we have a lot of staff, and those staff are working on things from our academic programs to our extension programs. So two of the largest extension programs and some of the biggest grants in our college actually come through our department, and that's including our SNAP education grant. So that's a grant that works with people who are eligible for this supplemental nutrition assistance program. It's an educational outreach program. And also our expanded food and nutrition education program is in our department. So we have a lot of faculty, we have a lot of staff, and a lot of different ways to connect. And I want to tell you a little bit about, this is currently what our department's academic programs look like at the graduate level. I'm going to tell you in just a minute how some of those things are changing, but if you go on our website right now, this is what you're going to see. We offer graduate degrees in agricultural and extension education and graduate degrees in youth, family, and community sciences. And that includes master's degrees and a doctorate in education degree in agriculture and extension education. And there are 2 types of master's degrees in our program. One is the MR, which is a Master of Ag and Extension Education, or a Master of Youth, Family, and Community Sciences, or the MS degree, which is a Master of Science in AEE or in YFCS. And a lot of students ask me, and several of you already have via the form that you filled out to register, about the difference between the MR and the MS master's degree. And so I want to kind of dive into that a little bit while we're sitting here. First, for the MS degree, a big part of that degree is carrying out research as a part of your thesis project. So you might design a research study and conduct it. For example, I've worked with a lot of students who have conducted interviews or maybe focus groups around a particular research topic they're interested in. For example, one student was working on, she interviewed parents who have children who are on the autism spectrum, and her study was about how do we better support parents and families who with children who are on the autism spectrum. And so she conducted interviews with those families, she analyzed those interviews and wrote about that in her thesis. Or maybe, some of our students are doing things like creating a survey that looks at how well extension agents in the counties are engaging with local farmers on issues like climate change. These are just examples of what a thesis project would be. But when you're thinking about applying to the MS track, if you're applying for a master's degree, we want to see that you have an idea like this for a research project. You might change when you get here, right? Like everybody changes and we have different, your research project might change a little bit, but we want to see in your application and your personal statement that you have an idea for something that you would like to study or for something that you would like to do. And that's for the doctoral degree as well. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. You might not know how to conduct that research study or how to answer that research question. That's okay. That's what your graduate degree is for, right? Like that's what we will be training you to do. But we want to see if you're applying for that MS degree or the doctorate in AEE, that you have that kind of research mind and you're thinking about those research questions. So if you love research and you see yourself fitting in that description and everything that I'm saying is like, oh, that's really exciting, I want to explore something and I want to, carry out a research project, the MS track might be good for you. And if you're also thinking about doing additional graduate education, the MS track might be where you want to be. If, on the other hand, you are really a programmatic person, you're the idea of writing is their option, where the culminating project is not the thesis, but the culminating project is instead either an internship experience, or you do a final kind of project with a faculty member, maybe carrying out like an evaluation project with a faculty member. And so that's a little bit of a breakdown of the MR and the MS degrees. The doctorate in agricultural and extension education is a 72-hour degree, and it culminates with writing a dissertation, which is an even longer research paper than a thesis, and you do a lot more in-depth research for a dissertation. And the EdD really prepares students for careers in academia. So if you want to become a professor, or working generally in higher education, or for more upper level positions in industry or in extension or education. And so you can see here we have master's degrees in both of those areas, and the doctorate of education as well. We also offer several graduate certificates, and I'll talk about those in just a minute, as well as our teacher licensure, which I'll talk about as well. So that last slide is what's currently on our website. But what is coming soon is, like I said, we're really bringing together our academic programs under one umbrella, which we are calling Agricultural Education and Human Sciences. And in what you saw on the previous slide was really a difference between YFCS and AEE. But for those of you, which is everyone here, who will be applying for the fall 2023 session, if you're applying fall 2023 or beyond, you will be applying under the AHS umbrella. So what does that mean? All of our academic programs our graduate programs are gonna fall under this umbrella. And we're really excited about that, because it allows us to come together more as a department, and it allows students to work more collaboratively with faculty across the department. And so that we have previously, had a YFCS side or an AEE side, and it was harder for students to go in between, or to maybe work with faculty on either side. With this blended program, you're going to be able to look at our full faculty and see who you would like to work with, what classes that you would like to take. And we have a lot of interest from people in our programs who are at that human dimension of agriculture. So for example, I've had students who have said, look, I'm really interested in food justice and youth development. I don't know if I should apply in AEE or if I should apply in YFCS. You don't have to think about that anymore. You'll apply to our graduate programs and be able to choose a concentration in our programs, but you'll be able to work more flexibly or nimbly with faculty across the department. So it allows students to appreciate or to experience the research that's happening across the department and extension, and also other opportunities, and be able to learn from each other. So in order to do that, what we're kind of how we're seeing that is under this umbrella of concentrations. And I'm going to show you all a video in just a few minutes to give you kind of a sense of what those concentrations will be. But basically, what you see on our website in terms of the courses that you would be required to take and the basic requirements, those will stay much the same. So for anyone who is interested in the YFCS degree, you're likely going to fall under the Family and Community Sciences concentration. The graduate plan of work will look very familiar to the YFCS degree. Students who are interested in agricultural leadership or agricultural extension or extension education, your course of study will look much the same that it probably would have had you come in as an AEE student. But again, you'll just be able to have that as a concentration and to be able to work with faculty across the department. So I want to pause here and play some short videos that actually Jessica organized and worked with videographers to create, that will give you a sense of what this new program will look like and what these concentrations are. So let me get to those. Hang on. All right.
Things, including agriculture. In our programs, we educate on many different things, including agricultural and human sciences topics. We also provide solutions to many of today's problems and also do a lot of work in training students in translational knowledge on how to take information right out to the people in many of the communities they serve.
Previously, the Department of Agricultural and Human Sciences offered 2 graduate degrees, one in Youth, Family, and Community Sciences, and a second in Agricultural and Extension Education. Our faculty have combined our resources and expertise to offer 1 graduate degree in Agricultural Education and Human Sciences. This is great news because it provides students the opportunity to work across our interdisciplinary department and pursue innovative research, extension, and academic endeavors.
The 4 concentrations that we will have in our agricultural education and human sciences master's degrees are agricultural education, extension education, family and community sciences, and agricultural leadership.
These concentrations are perfect for anyone who is interested in food, agriculture, natural resources, human sciences, and for students who want to pursue careers as leaders in government, business, and education.
We also offer several certificate programs, and our master's degrees can be offered in person or through distance education learning.
Our graduates teach in both formal and non-formal settings, are employed in nonprofits and government agencies, and really work to change our world for a better place, focused on the areas of agricultural and human sciences.
We are all focused on helping farmers, families, youth, communities, and individuals live more productive lives and find solutions to the problems they face in everyday living.
So I'm going to let's see, go back. I think what I'm going to do is I'll play the concentration videos again at the end. So let me stop sharing that and go back to my PowerPoint slide. Here we go. But hopefully that gives you all a sense of kind of what it will look like to bring our programs together, and how the work that you do will kind of fall under those different concentrations in the master's program. I do want to talk a little bit about the master's degree admissions requirements. There is a requirement for a minimum 3.0 GPA, a $75 application fee, 3 letters of recommendation. We ask that one of those be an academic reference. The other 2 can be professional references, a personal statement, official transcripts, and then for the FCS concentration, we also ask you for a writing sample about the role of family science in a diverse society. Of course, one of the most popular questions that we get asked by students is, when should I take the GRE? And for our program, that answer is you do not need to take the GRE. We place emphasis on your holistic application, and you are not required to take the GRE for either our master's degree or our doctoral programs. What I will say is that the personal statement is very important as we're reviewing your application, both at the master's and the doctoral level. We really pay a lot of attention to that personal statement, and particularly for the MS and the doctoral degrees, we're looking at the lines of research that you want to follow. And so for those of you who are applying for the MS or the EDD, we do ask that you be specific in your statement about the kinds of research that you want to pursue and the faculty members that you are interested in working with. We really want to see in that personal statement that you have looked at faculty bios, that you have some idea of faculty members who you want to work with, and that you can name that in your personal statement. And we encourage you to reach out to those faculty members to talk with them about their work and how you might fit into their research and programming. And I think, one of the things I didn't know much about how to apply for graduate school before I was doing it. And I was terrified to do that. I didn't want to reach out to faculty members. My advisor from my undergraduate program kind of made introductions for me and helped me to do that. And what I want for you all to hear is, like, please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have a question, or if there's a faculty member you want to talk with or meet with over the phone or over Zoom or in person. We are happy to do that. And we really want to see that you've made that effort, particularly those folks who are applying for those research tracks, the MS or the doctoral degree. For the EDD, our admissions requirements are a minimum of a 3.5 GPA, $75 application fee, 3 letters of recommendation. Again, we want one of those letters to be an academic reference. For the EDD, this really, our program, like our department, we're kind of putting research into action. So we want to see that you have some professional experience, 1 to 3 years of relevant professional experience. And then again, that personal statement, which really needs to include the potential research and naming potential advisors or professors whose research aligns with that research. Another question that we get sometimes is around that GPA requirement. The graduate school at NC State is pretty firm on those GPA requirements. However, for the master's degree in particular, I will say that we have had students who have applied to our program who have been below that 3.0 GPA threshold, but they have promise. So maybe they're coming back to school after being out for a long time and working and having a lot of really excellent professional experience. What we can sometimes do is have that student take 2 courses as a non-degree student at NC State in our program. And if that student can demonstrate in 2 courses and make, a B or above in those 2 courses, then we know that you're ready for graduate work, and we're able to re-examine your admissions based on that work in our program. So I want you all to hear that, like, we're a rigorous program. We take scholarship very seriously, and we take all these requirements very seriously, but we also are looking at you as a whole person. And if you have any questions about that, I'm more than happy to be in conversation with you about what that might look like, or some other ways to transition into the program. One of the things that we see a lot of students doing, and that Jessica has particularly worked with a lot of students around, is we have students who will enter as a certificate student, and then you can transfer in 12 hours of credit from that certificate program into your master's degree. So sometimes students want to dip their toe in and maybe get a certificate, but they find out they really enjoy the work that they're doing and they really like being in graduate school. And so they'll apply for full admission. And again, if you do well in our program, we know that you're going to do well in our program. So that's another way to demonstrate outside of that GPA requirement. I do want to talk a little bit about one of the really wonderful things that we offer in our program, which is the Licensure in Education for Agricultural Professionals, which is the LEAP program. I know some folks who are here are really interested in that. The LEAP program is a nationwide program, but we offer it at NC State. And the goal of the program is to address the shortage of qualified agricultural education teachers. Students who successfully complete the LEAP program will receive a Class A teaching license from the state of North Carolina. And that teaching license is recognized by 40 plus other states, Department of Defense schools, and the US territories. So the teacher education program at NC State is accredited by the Council for the Accreditation of Educator Preparation. Dr. Misty Lambert is our LEAP program advisor. And if you're interested in LEAP as either a part of your master's degree or a certificate, you can send your transcript to Dr. Lambert and to Desiree Mallon, who is our graduate services coordinator, and they can check your undergraduate transcript and they would then work with you to develop what is called the LEAP plan. And that LEAP plan would show you exactly what you would need to do to satisfy those teacher requirements to obtain that teaching license. And as it says here, it does require 21 credit hours to get that LEAP teacher licensure. And you do, to be admitted in the LEAP program, you do have to have a baccalaureate or degree in agriculture, natural resources, or a closely related field. So if LEAP is something that you're interested in, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I can connect you with Dr. Lambert or with Desiree, and they can talk more with you about LEAP. And as I mentioned earlier, we also have several graduate certificates in our program. Each of these requires 12 to 15 credit hours, depending on the different certification. Our youth development and leadership certificate is really working with people to think about how do you do community development work, youth development work in organizational settings, whether that's 4-H and Extension or whether it's Boys and Girls Clubs or other organizations that are serving youth. The Family Life Education and Coaching Certificate is to support folks who want to become family life coaches. So there are 2 coaching courses that you take as a part of that, as well as some elective courses to really work with families in a coaching as coaches. The Leadership and Volunteer Management Certificate is, I used to work in a nonprofit, and I think, oh my gosh, it would have been so wonderful to have dedicated coursework in volunteer management, because it really is a unique skill and something that's really important to study and to know about if you're doing work in the community. And so that LVM certificate is for folks who are working with volunteers and want to expand their leadership in that capacity. We also have an agricultural and extension education graduate certificate, and that certificate is 15 credit hours, and that one's it's flexible because it's to give people a kind of education in agricultural and extension education that's catered to their particular career path. So you do have an advisor in that program who works with you to designate what those 15 hours would be. And then finally, our newest certificate is in agricultural leadership, and that's a 12 credit hour certificate. There's one set leadership course, and then the other leadership electives are selected in consultation with our leadership faculty in the department. We do, as you can see here, a lot of work in leadership in our program, and so we have a lot of faculty who are in that kind of arena of leadership. And all of our graduate certificate admissions requirements are here, so you can see those requirements, and you can also include here, it says your resume, in case you have particular career experiences that you want us to know about as we consider your application for admission. So you can see here, it's very similar to our graduate requirements because it is a graduate degree from our program. Here's information. I know a lot of you wanted to know how to apply and what application deadlines are. So let me break this down for you because it can seem a little complicated, and I don't want it to be complicated at all. We do have a few application deadlines, and really they depend on whether you're applying for an assistantship or not. And so let me tell you a little bit about what that means, an assistantship. An assistantship is typically we have a few that we fund in our department for students who are on campus pursuing an MS degree or an EdD degree. And those students have to be full-time and on campus. So the assistantships are not eligible for, or our distance education students are not eligible for an assistantship. This is an on-campus thing, so you've got to be here kind of local to the Raleigh area. And like I said, typically we have a few each year, and they are full-time. So the assistantships are usually split between research and teaching or research and extension. In just a couple of weeks, we're actually working on getting all of our assistantship applications up on our website. So check back on our website in just a couple of weeks. You'll be able to see the assistantships that we will be offering for the fall 2023-2024 semester. assistantships provide tuition, a stipend, and health insurance for 3 years for doctoral students or 2 years for MS students. And if you're applying for an assistantship, we need to have your application in by February 1st. And if you're applying for an assistantship, in addition to applying through the general NC State application portal, you will also need to submit a cover letter and your CV or a resume to the faculty member who is supervising that assistantship. All of that information about the faculty members and the different assistantship positions will be on our website. So don't hesitate, but if you get lost and you can't find it, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to reach out to Desiree Mallon. Either of us can help you to find those. But if you're applying for an assistantship, we have to have your application by February 1st. We are going to be hosting a kind of recruitment event for prospective students in early February for students who are interviewing for those assistantships. And so we want to have all of those materials by then. There are also other assistantships offered at NC State, both through our college, which is the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, and through the university at large. You can see information about those on our website. And if you click on the the NC State Graduate School Finance website, there is lots of information about different assistantships and fellowships that are available through NC State. One of the things that we will also do in looking at your application package, if you are an MS or a doctoral student, is if we know of, a campus fellowship or program that we think you would be a good contender for, we're going to connect you with those resources and try to find ways to support your application. So if you are applying for a university fellowship, for example, please let us know, be in touch with us about that so that we can support you or provide any information that you might need. So all of that is to say, if you're applying for an assistantship, university fellowships, February 1st is the deadline. If you are not applying for an assistantship, you're just applying for fall, let's say maybe you have tuition support from your employer, or you're able to pay for your graduate education on your own, that application deadline is June 15th. There are also priority admissions deadlines for international students. So if you are an international student, I encourage you to check out that website that's listed here, grad.ncsu.edu/admissions deadlines, and look at those priority deadlines for international students. And then if you're interested in entering spring 2024, that spring admissions deadline is going to be November 1st. We typically do not have assistantships that start in the spring. Typically, all of our assistantships start in the fall. So if you're interested in an assistantship, you're probably going to be falling in that February 1st deadline. There are a couple of websites here, and I will send you all this PowerPoint with the links when I send the recording for this, but check out these links. The first one is the application portal for NC State, the NC State's graduate school. But the second is we also have, different resources on our website related to writing a personal statement and ways to, support you in the application process and how to apply. So be sure to check out our website for some of those additional resources. And I think, another thing that people often ask is what you can do with a degree in one of our programs. And our students are doing so many different things. I'm constantly amazed. Jessica has been profiling both our current students and our alums. We have so much on our website. So I definitely encourage you to check out our website if you have not already. It seems like almost weekly there's something being posted about one of our students or our alums doing incredible work in the world. But these are some of the things that people are doing with their degrees in agricultural and human sciences. From working with a community organization, serving as a director of a nonprofit, working in a community setting, or working in education. We really are lucky to have such a strong network of alums and who are working in both community settings, in extension, or in education. And so we're also doing a lot of work in our program, and I keep saying Jessica's name, but she's like a really huge part of this, of helping our students develop those professional development skills so that when you leave our programs, you know both your worth, like how important the work that you're doing is, and how to, for lack of a better word, market that in the world, and how to tell your story. And so we're working really hard to provide those kinds of professional development experiences for our students. And we recently, I will point out, did a survey with YFCS alumni to understand like how much they're using what they learned in our program. And it was amazing and overwhelming that our alums are really using the research that they've learned, the theories that they've learned in their programs daily or weekly. And just to see those stats, and you can see that that's on our website as well. There's information about that study, but we're really doing hard work across our department to bring that research into action and to help our students to do work that matters in the world. So why NC State is an important question too. So we've talked a lot about agricultural and human sciences, and I love our department so much. It's been such a wonderful home for me and such a wonderful and collaborative place. But NC State as an institution is also a wonderful place to do graduate education. And so I want to talk with you a little bit about the university and the resources that you would have at that institutional level if you choose to come and join us at NC State. Our motto at NC State is think and do. And I think that our department really is emblematic of that think and do mindset. Our students at NC State, the faculty, the staff are really confronting some of the biggest challenges that we're facing in our communities and in our society, and trying to work, to bring research into action through our extension networks, through our community development work, through our engagement work that we're doing. And that's the thing that makes me so excited, both about being at NC State, but also about the students that I get to work with at the university. Our students are passionate about changing the world. There's not a day that goes by that I don't talk with a student who is doing work that is changing their world, that is changing our world. And whether it's a high school teacher, they're working with high school teachers, or youth development professional, or they're a policymaker who wants to kind of go work in government and trying to make bigger scale changes. They're really trying to make the world a better place. And that's the kind of thing that you'll see our faculty, our students, and our staff are really committed to. And being a part of a bigger university like NC State really connects you as a student to a lot of different resources, a lot of different faculty members. So not just faculty in our department. For example, if you're working on your thesis, you can connect with folks who are in the College of Education or in the School of Social Work or in the Department of Sociology, and kind of participate in research or attend lectures of things that are happening around the university to kind of bring that interdisciplinary focus to your work and your life. And we want to help you do that. So we're trying to find ways to help students know, here are the resources that are there for you, and here are the ways to engage in the university. I will close with saying that there is a lot of information about tuition and aid on the grad school's website, so you can definitely check that out and learn about the financial support that's offered. We also have links to this on our website, so you can definitely go through the AHS department website and link to those, or through the graduate school. And if you have any questions about assistantships, scholarships, or things like that, we were happy to answer those. But I wanted to point you to those resources related to tuition and aid, because that's something that's really important to know about and to think about as you're thinking about graduate education. So let me see what time it is. That is a lot of information. And before I show some of these videos, actually, I think I'm going to end it there, and I'll show some of the videos if we have time, because what I'd really like to do is have plenty of time for questions if you all have any questions. But I will say, for the end of the recording, thank you for everyone who is listening, and we hope that helped you to see why graduate career at NC State can be a really great way to broaden your horizons, to continue doing the work that I know each of you are doing that matters for the world. And we really hope that you are able to join us in the AHS department. So